And I would love to remind you today that the season of spring will continue to come around for you. You don't outgrow seasons. There's not a graduation or an end of season celebration when you become an adult. And what a blessing that is. Each and every day is a fresh opportunity to grow in the goodness and knowledge of God. Hi, friend. I'm Susan Beth, and you are listening to the Susan Beth Podcast, where we talk about living life intentionally and about trusting that the desires you have deep within you are there for a reason. I believe that the creator of the universe put those desires within you and that they are pathways to your purpose. My desire is that this would be a space that encourages you to lean in and to hear the whispers of the divine, and that you would be reminded of things that I honestly believe you already know. That you, my friend, are here for a reason. So if you're here for more conversations in that kind of space, welcome. Let's go. Hey, I hope you're doing well. Can you believe we are heading into the last week of May? And with celebration of Memorial Day, some of you might be having a long weekend. So enjoy. Anyway, May. What a month. The momentum of May. I was thinking about this. Being nestled in the season of spring here in the U.S. seems fitting because spring is all about growth and things blossoming and blooming up around us. And a lot of the days in May, the weekends especially, are filled with celebrating all the things, from the end of sport seasons and school seasons to all of the graduation celebrations and spring weddings. Most of us, I think, our calendars are a little fuller than normal, but May is a special month of memories that signify for many walking out of one season of life and into the next. And I love receiving the announcements in the mail from proud parents celebrating their child's accomplishments. And I also feel such joy as I've seen post of different graduates that I know, and they're celebrating with pics of their last day at school with their friends and pictures from graduation, them walking across stages. And it just makes me smile. And it's such an exciting time. And as I read some of their posts and words that they're sharing about some of the things that they are feeling at this time, I can remember all of the feelings that I felt. And it's an exciting time, but I know for me, as exciting as it all was, I felt very sentimental about my high school days and that time of life ending, because I very much knew that life as I had become accustomed to was forever going to change. I knew that all of my best friends in that friend circle, as we all went to different cities and states for school, that more than likely those relationships would not remain the same. And they haven't. And not from anything other than our lives took us different directions. And yes, for some of those friendships, there has remained a staying in touch. But life has taken us different places. And besides an occasional, memories popping up and communication through social media or something like that, life did take us to different places, and all of those relationships did change, because some of them, it's like you're closer friends with some people, but a lot of them, your acquaintances, it's not necessarily people you're going to stay in close contact with. And teachers and just different things that it was just like, I felt very sentimental. I just felt it of like my life is shifting and changing and I'm moving into something different. And so I had lots of feelings about that. I remember my brother making a lot of fun of me that at my graduation I was a little emotional, we'll say. So anyway, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. And it can feel in that moment that everyone in your world is celebrating you and cheering you on. And if you receive emails from me, you might notice that I often end my notes with cheering you on. And those words mean something to me when I'm sending them out to you for you to read. I want you to know that if no one else is in your ear, in your world, cheering you on, I am. And I think that's what can be hard as an adult. And I'm sure some of it has to do with your personality or your love language. But as a child growing up, we are encouraged and recognized by our parents and teachers and coaches when we are learning and growing. And they're giving us direction and encouragement in that process, which that acknowledgement is meaningful. And it sometimes keeps us going when we're tempted to quit. And I understand that part of maturing and growing up is us becoming independent and not needing this continual external guidance and input from another adult in our life. But whether we are aware of it or not, because it was such a part of our formative years when it is absent as an adult, I think we feel it's void. And we don't always understand why we are feeling what we're feeling or where it's coming from. But I absolutely think for all of us, we can't help but not feel that void. Which leads us to waiting on validation or recognition to continue or move forward fully into something. Or even waiting for permission or an invitation to start something. Because that's the way that we have been wired or formed by our environment and all of the people around us as our brains and our bodies were being developed. And maybe you're hearing that and you're listening and thinking, that's me. There are things that you think about that you want to try or to learn about, but deep down inside, you feel like you have to be invited into that new space. Or maybe you have moved into that new space. You followed your curiosity into something new and you love it. But there's something within you that feels like you need permission or validation to proceed, to be taken seriously. And from someone that has continued to make pivots through my adult life, I get it. I can relate to both of those scenarios. And finally, one day, it sunk in for me that many of the people that had stepped out of boxes that they had been living in, they did so not because someone had invited them out of the box or given them permission to come out of the box, but because they gave themselves permission. And actually, I do believe that I was given permission and being invited to something because I believe for each of us, we are being invited and have been given permission by the one who designed and created us. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You know the feeling because you have them too. You know the things that you notice that everyone else can seemingly walk right by and not notice. You know, the things that tug at your heart that maybe doesn't tug at everyone else around you. There's a reason for that. And in those moments when that happens, I believe that you are being invited to participate and to respond and to co-labor with your creator. You know, one of the thoughts from the Spring Journal this week read, "The blooms seemingly whisper an invitation to your soul to linger and bask in the beauty blossoming both around and within." What a beautiful reminder that spring is the season of growth. And there is plenty growth for us to witness as we look around in nature, as well as we look around in the lives and all the celebrations taking place around us. And I would love to remind you today that the season of spring will continue to come around for you. You don't outgrow seasons. There's not a graduation or an end of season celebration when you become an adult. And what a blessing that is. Each and every day is a fresh opportunity to grow in the goodness and knowledge of God and be invited every day to co-labor with Him in whatever He is inviting us into. My husband Ron and I always said to our 5 kids when they were growing up that we wanted them to be learners and to love learning, and not simply learning for the sake of passing a daily quiz, but to love following their desires and curiosity and seeking out the path and experiences and the knowledge as they discovered new things and learned. And it amazes me sometimes that for me, someone that hated classrooms and schools, that I'm constantly reading and studying and listening and learning. And because I didn't like school, I thought I didn't like to learn. And it turns out that I just wasn't interested in all the things that I was being taught and the way that I was being taught. So here's to learning and loving and continuing to grow into everything that our God planned and purposed for us. Love you guys, and we will talk soon. Hey you, thanks for listening. And if you would like to connect more, head over to susanbeth.com and sign up, and you will be one of the first to find out about anything new. Plus, there's a special free download available just to say thanks. If something in this episode did speak to you, would you do me a favor and share it with a friend that you think it might resonate with as well? And until next time, keep showing up in the world just as God purposed you to do, because you being you is exactly what we all need.